All right. Good morning. I have been with the University of Florida for going on 104 days now, I think. Relatively new. Came in from the business world, having been in the corporate world for a number of years, as well as a couple of startups. And they were looking for somebody that could really engage businesses with the College of Engineering. So that's really what I want to talk about today. Next slide. And this is what I've told them. Everybody in business is worrying about today's needs, not thinking about tomorrow's innovations, and that's where I think a lot of businesses could use help. And I would love to hear your feedback about that, because one of the things we're trying to do is be more available to small business. I was talking to some of the folks earlier before the session began. Big businesses are easy to work with. They've got lots of people, lots of resources that can come to the university. Small businesses typically do not, and they don't know where to start. And that's really what I wanted to focus on. Next slide. If you read the McKinsey report from a couple of years ago, all CEOs are looking for new businesses, and you can certainly understand why. For every dollar of new revenue they get, it has twice the impact for the enterprise versus some of their older products and services. But they're wanting to get 30% of their business coming from new clients by 2027, and they are way behind in reaching that goal. COVID probably didn't help that a whole lot. The question is, are we going to be able to recover and catch back up? Next slide. So these are the four areas I'm really focusing on from the College of Engineering's perspective. Students, corporate research, lifelong learning, and economic development. And I'll just kind of touch quickly on each one of those. Next slide. So from student engagement, next. We have an L3 Harris speaker series where we bring people in to talk to the students. This is largely for the undergrads, but we also have programs for graduate and postdoc students as well. We're trying to bring people in from across the business spectrum, so it's not just the big companies, it's also small companies. Next slide. We're also creating new lectures, seminars, internships, hackathons. I hate that term, but that's what everybody calls them. We're putting one together right now on drones after what's been going on in the Ukraine and Israel. We're seeing a lot of drone activity, some of it working, some of it not. And we've got a lot of student interest in that, as well as industry interest. So when that is formally announced and scheduled, the entire world is welcome to come to the university and partake in that. Again, trying to engage the students to see what they can do in this community because it is timely for what everybody's seeing on the news right now. Next slide. We're also creating a virtual internship program. The college had done this back during COVID when nobody could get together in offices like this. But now we're doing it for small businesses as well as for big companies that are not based in the Gainesville area, which is pretty much everybody. There's no reason why you can't have a virtual internship, especially if you're looking at things like software engineering, cybersecurity, data analysis, things of that nature. Those students can do that work for you from anywhere, including from the campus. And I'd be happy to talk to anybody about that afterwards. Next slide. So with corporate research. This is a couple of programs that we have right now that are public. We have a couple of others that are under non-disclosure agreements. You've probably seen this. If you Google it, you can see the press announcements. Citibanks is a 4-year project with a number of different research things that will take place one semester at a time. The Autodesk one is a brand new one that's in partnership with the Design, Construction, and Planning College across the street from the College of Engineering. And that's really focusing and doubling down on 3D printing systems. They have a new concrete printer that can 3D print a building. It is huge. It is really impressive, and Autodesk is partnering on that because they want students to be able to use Autodesk software when they're 3D printing some of these super large structures. Just now getting that kicked off, it is a really neat program, and we're looking to do more of that, and we're really curious to see what sort of corporate research we can be doing for some of these companies. Next slide. A couple of different pieces that, again, a lot of people don't know the university has. FIX is the cybersecurity research arm of the College of Engineering. This really is set up for cybersecurity for businesses. You might be familiar with one of the other cybersecurity groups that's at the University of South Florida. That's really designed more for city and county government programs. So these guys have developed the two pictures, the two gentlemen you see there have designed a new method for detecting audio deep fakes. You've probably seen a couple of press pieces about that. Somebody calls and their daughter's been kidnapped and you've got to wire the money, blah, blah, blah. They've got a new system for detecting and letting you know that isn't actually your daughter and she has not actually been kidnapped. But it's got some other broad applications that they're now exploring. It's really kind of neat. We're also moving into digital twins. That isn't just simply CAD camming like what you see here. It's creating an entire digital representation of a physical entity so that you can play with it and test it. And as a decision maker, you can decide, is this going to work for us? One of the big ones we've done right now is the city of Jacksonville with a Category 4 hurricane on top of it. Where does the flooding take place in the city? And you can actually, as the mayor, sit there and work with your staff to figure out what streets are closed. Where's the fire department being shut out of certain neighborhoods? When do I need to move certain assets around with the police, fire department, and the other first responders as the storm is approaching? It lets them practice in real time with real situational awareness without anybody actually getting hurt, without any damage taking place. Next slide. So lifelong learning. Next slide. This is a new program. It is the FINS, the Florida FINS Talent Pipeline. Click again. University of Florida was the first academic partner with the CIA labs, and we are working on a program to create a pipeline for the agency and several other national laboratories to identify students as they're going through the university that they might want to bring in as employees as soon as they graduate. What this is letting them do is work on their security clearance after they've been identified as a potential candidate for one of these agencies. We're also very big on online learning. You've probably seen this. So University of Florida is usually number 1 or number 2 in online learning programs. We also do custom programs for companies. It does not have to be a big company. We can do a custom program for a small company too. So that's really one of the things I'm hoping to hear from you is what can we do for you to help you with your business. And then finally, economic development. We are leaning real heavy on the Space Coast because those are big paying jobs, and with the Space Coast, not too far from us here, there's some real opportunity there. The Australis Space Institute is internal within the university, and it goes across several colleges, not just engineering. And then Space Florida is the partnership across 3 universities as well as the state. Again, trying to support. As we see some of the changes going on in Washington right now, I expect this to move more and more to the commercial side over the next couple of years, and we're trying to get as integrated with them as we possibly can. Next slide. So this is the Malachowski building. One of the things we're also talking to companies about is if you wanted to generate a new startup and you were looking for an opportunity to do so in the Gainesville area, click, we have spaces available inside that engineering building. This is really focused probably more on the bigger companies because they have the resources to do it, but if you wanted to do a startup and you were looking for engineering talent, there's 11,000 engineering students walking in and out of this building almost every day. We have offices, we have a little bit of lab space, and we have access to students. And it could be in any number of areas. Again, this is what I'm kind of curious to hear from you. We're hearing from big companies that this is the areas they're interested in. I want to know what you folks need. Next slide. So here's the 10 things I think we can really do to help businesses, and I would be curious to hear what everybody's feedback is on this. What I'm also hearing is they don't know where to start, and that's really what this office has been created, is to be the front door access to the College of Engineering. So if you know which faculty member or expert you want to reach out to, do you reach out to them? Do you call the dean? Do you call the general counsel's office? Nobody really knows what the starting point is. The starting point is this new office, and we will go around and move a contract through the process, get a non-disclosure agreement in place. We'll go find the faculty members that are the experts in whatever it is you need and find the ones who are really actively looking to work with industry on the outside. Next slide. So there's how you can reach me and Trey Womack, who's not here today, but he's also my assistant, and the two of us will go knock on doors and make the introductions. I won't just point you in a particular direction. I will introduce you myself, or if you come to the campus, I'll walk you over to the lab and introduce you to the faculty, the staff, and the students who can work on a particular problem for you. It's been interesting. Some of the newer faculty, some of the younger folks in particular that have come from other schools really want to work with industry, because when they're graduating their students, that's where the majority of them are going, is industry. Most of them probably going to small and medium-sized businesses too, not the big corporate giants. So we're trying to make sure they are as ready for you as they possibly can be, and in order to do that, I need to hear from you what you need them to be able to do. Next slide. And with that, I think my 10 minutes is now up, but I'd be happy to answer any questions.